Good morning and welcome to JSA TV, where we are covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations from leaders across the digital infrastructure industry. Today, I am happy to be coming to you live from the expo floor of Yotta 2024 in beautiful Las Vegas. And we'll be bringing you updates throughout the day, so be sure to stay tuned. And we are kicking things off with some extra special guests. Extra special love for our very first guests of the very first Yotta, I might say. We've got Lightsource Communications here. Joining me now, we have Deborah Freitas and Pete MP. Thank you so much for stopping by and starting your day with us.
Well, thank you so much. We are thrilled to be back on JSA TV, so we appreciate you having us.
Always enjoy having you guys here. So you have had a little bit going on lately. You just got done with a very big rebrand effort. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And tell us about that. What was behind that and what's going on there?
Well, we're really excited about it for sure. Lightsource has been around for 10 years, so this is our 10-year anniversary, and we felt like it was a really good time to come out with a new logo, new website, and just a general rebranding. We've expanded internally and externally. We've hired some new top executives for our team, and we have a lot of exciting projects that we're working on. So it just kind of all made sense for right now.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds like we need to stay tuned. Probably a lot more to come there.
A lot. Yeah.
What are some of those key initiatives, if you can tell us just a little bit?
Sure. On our rebrand, we have a beautiful new logo. I'm so thrilled about it. It really speaks to the trajectory that Lightsource has. So that's really, really exciting for us. And that is out. It's on our LinkedIn and things like that. And then we have a new website too, which is beautiful. It's not launched just yet. It'll be coming really soon. But we're really excited for that to be coming out as well.
Yeah. And we should just give folks who maybe aren't extremely familiar with what you've been doing, can you just explain for us just kind of how you operate in the space and how you help your clients?
Yeah, so we are a dark fiber provider. And 10 years ago when we first started, we were concentrating on the long haul fiber network, would connect the metro areas to each other. And now the market has really driven us to metro dark fiber. And as we announced just recently into a new market, we'll talk about it in a minute. And the last time we were on JSA TV, we announced the Phoenix market, which has grown. It has doubled in size in the last 3 months, and that's kind of indicative of what is happening with the dark fiber market itself.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There are definitely those hot spots where that's the story across the country. So that definitely will be a need. Okay, you hinted at what's to come. Is there anything else that you can give us? And I'll leave that very open-ended for you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, last week we announced Tulsa, and we have previously had long-haul routes in Tulsa of about 50 miles. But we announced 2 metro rings, very excited to be building out Tulsa significantly, adding almost another additional 100 miles to the Tulsa region.
Wow. That's another hotspot, up and coming market right in the middle of America.
It is.
Absolutely. So talk to me a little bit about AI, artificial intelligence. We're going to be hearing a lot about AI here at the conference.
For
and
sure.
Of course, it's everywhere you look right now. People are talking about AI. How has that been a factor for you and for your team?
Sure. It's really the driving factor for us. And as we evolved over the last 10 years, we started out really helping the hyperscalers get from point A to point B. Now, the hyperscalers model has changed significantly because of artificial intelligence and the need for the sheer number of fibers to be able to carry artificial intelligence is driving their market, which then drives our market. Really, everything that we're doing in the push you see to all the build out is to support artificial intelligence.
Yeah. It's not going away, is it?
No, it's not. It's exploding. So we're really excited to be a part of it, and we're looking forward to what we can do, to help those companies grow.
Absolutely. Well, anything else that you guys want to make sure that our viewers know about what you're working on and what's to come?
Well, we, other than, like Pete mentioned, we have the Phoenix route that is really exploding. We're super excited about that. So, that market, the whole ecosystem there is exciting for us and for, our customers as well. So that's great. and Tulsa, and hopefully some additional things in the future.
Yes, a lot more to come. So we'll hope to have you back again on JSA TV soon, so you can let us know all about how the rebrand is going. We are really looking forward to seeing the new website, and just looking forward to keeping in touch with you guys.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much for stopping by, and to our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you stick around. A lot more to come here from the showroom floor at Yotta. In the meantime, stay curious and stay connected.
The main point of the chapter is that sustainability is not simple. It is a complicated problem, and it requires comprehensive solutions. And we need to make sure that while we're finding solutions and implementing them, we do it without exacerbating other problems or creating new ones. So I think if I had to boil it down to the three takeaways, the first one is that we're all in it together. The solutions that we pursue, they have to work for everyone globally, not just our industry or not just a particular player. We need to find holistic, comprehensive solutions. The other one, like I said, we can't break something else. There's 17 SDGs, or Sustainable Development Goals. There's 9 planetary boundaries, and we have to keep our eye on all of them. And I think really at the very bottom line, the simplest way to become more sustainable is to take less and make less, and therefore we waste less.
If somebody reads my chapter, the most important thing that they should really take away from it is this micro to macro approach. Really looking at data centers and sustainability in data centers as a holistic thing, as opposed to just individual products or individual isolated systems. Really taking a broader view, and in fact, that micro to macro approach, even those small individual items that really one doesn't think of as having a significant impact on an isolated basis, really begin to snowball and add up and have a broader impact on a programmatic basis.
There are 2 defining trends of our time: digitization and sustainability. So on the one hand, everything that can be digitized will be digitized, driving a huge amount of data and need for compute. On the other hand, we have a rapidly evolving climate crisis, with governments, businesses, individuals needing to take urgent action to curb emissions. The data center sits at the intersection of these megatrends. It's where digital transformation meets the climate crisis head on. So every time we as consumers go online, we do our banking, we do our online shopping, we stream a TV series, a process starts in a data center. If this data center is power hungry, coal-fired, energy inefficient, and lets excess heat into the atmosphere, then we are contributing to climate change, and most likely unknowingly, all of us. My chapter starts with a personal story of when I tried to explain what I do at work to my young daughter, and failing miserably in getting her remotely interested. I finally managed to capture her interest when we got into a discussion on how watching My Little Pony on her iPad started a process in a data center that recycled the excess heat from the servers to warm the radiators in our home in snowy Stockholm. So the first part of my chapter looks at digital infrastructure through the eyes of a child and helps land how being a part of this industry affords us an opportunity to, in my daughter's words, help the world become a better place. So in my chapter, I also zoom in on innovation that is transforming the data center industry, how the digital data explosion fuels the need for high density data centers, and why modern data centers need to have heat reuse, circular economy principles, innovative cooling, and work in tandem with the climate. These are all existing industry innovations that are starting to be deployed at large scale. I use some of at Nordic data centers to give real examples in the chapter. Lastly, I also zoom out and look at what factors that can accelerate innovation, accelerate change. And I believe that customers, so the buyers of data centers, and consumers, so anyone who consumes digital services, will increasingly act as change agents and accelerate the shift towards greener data.
Yeah, so what I've written about in Greener Data really touches on the substantive changes that the free market, in my view, can be making to impact the cleanliness of our environment, and how imperative it is that the IT industry, in particular with all the advanced applications that are coming online, leverages some of the new technologies with cooling, in particular liquid cooling and immersion. And the spoiler alert is that, in my view, the tech industry can do more right now than it is doing, and probably more than most other industries in the immediate, that could have a material impact on a greener environment.
My chapter discusses the evolution and innovation of data center technology at Flexential. We focus on how we are shaping the future of data centers through advanced power and cooling strategies. It highlights really the importance of data centers in today's era of digital transformation, in particular in meeting the high-performance computing demands of AI and machine learning workloads.
Hello and welcome back to JSA TV, where we are coming to you live from the showroom floor at Yotta 2024. The showroom floor doors have just opened, but my next guest here, Jeff Potter with ECS, can confirm it's already crazy in here.
It is.
And I mean that in the very positive sense of the way. So thank you very much for making your way over and chatting with us, Jeff.
Thank you, Keely. Appreciate it.
So, okay, I've walked by your booth. You guys have a booth here on the expo floor, and there's a lot going on over there, and I want to get into that for a minute. You have something that looks like a huge water tank over there. What's happening over there?
Yeah, no, it's great. We're demonstrating our immersion cooling solution with our ECS server submerged in a liquid stack tank. This is a 4U tank that is basically running right now on an AI workload. So it's actually in motion as we speak. And the great thing about it is the small size of that, you can use it for any sort of edge deployment or small scale data centers. But we also do much larger data center deployments as well with immersion cooling. It's a great solution in terms of it saves energy over air-cooled solutions by up to 40%. It also allows you to scale up and produce more server scalability and density in those spaces. So it's a great solution for data centers or enterprise data centers that wish to save energy costs and increase their operating.
Well, and so many are having initiatives around that right now, and need companies like yours to help put that into action. So it's really great work that you're doing.
Thank you.
We should pause there for a moment, and you just kind of led on. But for those who may not be familiar with ECS and what you're doing, can you just explain a little bit more about how you're helping your customers?
Yeah, for sure. So we're a solutions integrator. We work with partners, wide ecosystem of partners, everything from AI to ML deployments, 5G, cybersecurity, liquid cooling. So the whole gamut. And yeah, we're continuing to grow and innovate and build new solutions for the marketplace. And it's a really fun time to be at ECS.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to sit back and watch and see what you're doing as
For
well.
sure.
You do have another, jumping back to the booth here at the expo floor at Yotta, you do have another really cool thing happening over there. We talked about the liquid cooling tank that you guys have got. And then you've got something else that looks like a router, like a small, sleek router. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so that's our ECS Edge connector. And it's basically a 5G network appliance. It's powered by Intel processors and also secured by Zscaler Zero Trust Architect platform. So it's a great solution for many sectors that want to transmit data securely and quickly. It's small size. We also have an 8-core solution, so depending upon the environment and space that you need to use it, it's a fantastic solution right now, and we're really proud to work with our partners on that.
Yeah, very good. So let's switch gears just a little bit and talk about AI. It's the hot topic. Everybody here at Yotta is talking about it. Of course, it's been a trending topic for about a year now. So how do you see ECS fitting into that space, and how are you incorporating that and working with it?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, I mean, we're at a show dedicated to AI infrastructure. That's what we do. And like I mentioned, we partner with various companies and our customers to make sure that we can develop those AI solutions that meet their needs. We also have an innovation lab where we test all those solutions before they go to market, just to make sure that it is meeting their needs and customized options. But everything that's happening right now with large learning models, generative AI, AI enhanced autonomy, all these areas are continuing to develop and get adopted. And you'll start to see these sectors that see the productivity growth, see the lower cost of operating costs, and then just overall benefits to the business. This will continue to happen.
Yeah. So it sounds like you think we're just brushing the tip of the iceberg right now.
Yes.
And it's really going to bring a lot of changes our way in the industry.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to seeing how you guys continue to work with it. Before we let you go, is there anything else that you want to let our viewers know about what you're working on?
I think you should stop by our booth at 510. It's a great setup, and then follow us online or on LinkedIn, and you'll find out on a daily basis all the stuff that we're working on.
Absolutely. Well, Jeff, thanks so much for stopping by JSA TV, and have a good time. I'm going to make my way over there a little bit later when I'm done here, so you can show me the demo. It sounds really amazing. So yes, absolutely. Stop by if you're here at the show, or check them out online if you are not. But thanks again for joining us.
Thanks, Kaylee. Appreciate it.
Thanks to our viewers for tuning in. Don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more to come here from Yotta 2024. In the meantime, stay curious and stay connected, everyone.
The chapter, deals into the realm of the green data centers, addressing the imperative of balancing technologies as mentioned with environmental responsibility. It emphasizes the necessity of transitional towards the sustainable practices to mitigate the environmental impact of data centers. We have talked about few strategies, including optimizing the energy efficient infrastructure, harnessing renewable energy sources, overcoming the challenges such as high initial cost and legacy infrastructure. There, we also incorporated few case studies where we highlight how successful implementation eventually helped the organization to bring all those sustainability initiatives within the business and demonstrate the successful benefits, including cost reduction as well as decreased carbon emissions.
Yeah. So the key takeaways for the chapter, I was so excited to be able to participate in this project. I mean, first and foremost, sustainability is one of the core values that we have here at DartPoint. So this is not only important to us from a as we evolve as a data center operator, but it's truly important to us as a company that we contribute as we think about the impacts that our business has on the environment and how we can always look to improve that and be more competitive. But the title of my chapter is really the interconnect domain between finance, sustainability, and innovation. And I was so excited to get that as our title because it really covers the entire ecosystem end to end as it relates to the data center sector and the impacts that the data center sector is having on the environment. And really, the four key takeaways that I would identify in our chapter are really first and foremost is growth that the sector is experiencing. When you think about data demand and you think about where data centers sit in the ecosystem, right? We're at the core of what drives that data demand, not only today, but these enormous future projections, right? The ecosystems that we create in our facilities are really the drivers that enable all that. So that's one, right? How sustainable is that going forward, and what are the impacts on the environment, given just the enormous power demand that our ecosystems create, and particularly when you think about the tailwinds of AI and machine learning type opportunities, that demand only exponentially grows. The second point, really, in our chapter is really about capital, right? We're a business that requires an enormous amount of capital to continue to grow. We are a capital-intensive business, and the chapter that we were able to participate in really addresses the impact of capital coming into the industry, the impact of sustainability, and particularly around the new entrance of capital coming into the market and how they want to focus capital being deployed in a very sustainable way. And so we really address that. I'm excited about the impacts that's having on the industry. The third one is innovation, right? That's what DartPoints is all about. We consider ourselves really to be thought leaders in the industry, right? We want to be perceived as innovators. When you think about sustainability, and I mentioned the power demand in the industry, generally people tend to just kind of think about alternative power sources, whether that's wind or whether it's other types of power solutions that are being talked about. But when you really understand what's going on within the data center ecosystem, that's just one component, right? Design, processes, tools, procedures, technology, right? How you become very efficient through advanced technology and innovation. All of that end-to-end ecosystem really comes into play when you begin to think about sustainability within the data center sector, and how do you really maximize the benefit that we can have on the environment. And then, of course, the last one of the key learning is the customer, right? That is clearly an environment where if you want to be relevant as a data center provider, not only today, but in the future, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road, you have to evolve your thinking, the way we build our platforms, the way we deploy our platforms, all has to have a mindset of sustainability, because customers today, whether you're engaging in a prospective discussion as they look at you as a potential partner, or they're a customer in your existing environment, they're demanding solutions that are environmentally friendly. And if you want to continue to do business with them, you've got to be able to deliver and demonstrate that that's a direction you're developing and evolving your company. So those are really the four key takeaways and the four areas that we focus on within our chapter within the book.
Welcome back, everyone, to JSA TV, where we are covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations from leaders across the digital infrastructure industry. And we're coming to you live right now from the expo floor of Yotta 2024 in Las Vegas. Day one, about hour two or so. Well, depending on what you're doing. Day two, kind of for you.
Yep.
We've got Ben Rapp joining us from Relco right now, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But thank you so much for stopping by and talking with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, we have had Kohler on JSA TV many, many times, but this is one of the first times that we're talking to your company now as Relco recently transitioned and rebranded. Can you just give us a little bit of history about the rebrand and what you're working on now?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're undergoing a rebrand right now because we're an independent entity. So Kohler is now separate from the business, and we are embarking on a new aggressive mission to continue to sell backup power generation sets to various customers, and we're operating now under the Relco name.
Yeah, so same great work, same brand quality,
Yes.
new name, but everything else in the same quality team. It is everywhere here. I mean, I'm looking right now at a sign that says Kohler Energy is now
Yeah, we've
Relco.
got a great booth. Everything looks great. Yeah, the rebranding has gone very smoothly, and we have a lot of engagement across the organization from our distributors as well as our external stakeholders. So it's been very good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit more about what you guys are working on. I mean, no matter what you call the company, from Kohler Energy to now Relco, you're definitely coming off a lot that's been happening, some really big award wins as of late, and you've been working on a lot with sustainability, and that's not changing. That's sticking around.
Yeah, that's correct. So we've done a lot to advance our conventional solutions. So recently we've created this program which allows all of our diesel gensets to allow renewable diesel. So HVO, or hydrotreated vegetable oil, is one of the biggest things right now for our customers to decrease their emissions from no operational or product change, which has been great. And then we're also allowing programs now where you can reduce the amount of hours that you have to exercise your genset. So it's a program called Conscious Care. A lot of great aspects to that program. Again, reducing the emissions for our customers, but then also reducing the costs associated with burning fuel and everything associated with having to exercise and test power systems.
Yeah. And one of the things that I always catch on to when I speak to someone from the Relco team is, yes, you are looking big picture and long term,
Yeah.
but you're also very interested in what are some small changes that we
Correct.
can implement right now too.
Yeah, and that's the key. It's not enough to just throw out some big ideas. It's definitely important to stay on the leading edge, but we're very focused on the here and now and what's capable and the iterative steps that our customers can take and that we can take from a product standpoint to help them do that.
Absolutely. So you were talking about some of this yesterday. You were a speaker at the Innovate Arena here at Yotta. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you told the fine folk here at Yotta?
Yeah, sure. So the Innovate Arena was really designed for those kind of big steps in the sustainability space and how to further improve digital infrastructure. And our focus here at Relco is really what's that next step beyond these conventional solutions. We can do so much with after treatment systems, but that next frontier is really zero emissions at the point of use for our customers. And that's really where the hydrogen fuel cell technology that we're working on comes in. So I presented on that, showcased our technology and this integrated system that allows our customers to use hydrogen fuel cells to provide power on demand.
Yeah, that's a great segue into the next question. We're talking a lot about sustainability here at the show, and obviously it's a very big initiative for Relco. So is there any one thing or, any approach or piece of innovation out there that's really going to help change the game?
Yeah, well, one aspect I didn't mention previously is this environmental product declaration. It's something that the team has been working on for a long time, and we're really focused on helping customers like data centers improve their carbon accounting. And that's really the next step that we see in this industry, is really an understanding and transparency associated with all the equipment being placed into digital infrastructure. What does that make up? And lifecycle analyses are very important in the industry now. So we're actually the first power systems manufacturer, first genset manufacturer that has an environmental product declaration configuration for our diesel gensets that are most commonly used in data centers today. So we're very proud of that. We're very proud of the transparency that we're presenting to the industry, and it's really, going to be the next step in helping provide a more sustainable economy.
Well, and I'm sure it opens up not only your eyes to the true impact of the creation of this product has, but you're just helping your customers make more informed decisions.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's key.
That's what it's all about. Well, anything else that you want to let us know or hint at about what you might be working on or what you're excited about?
Well, if you're here, stop by the booth. It's a great show, and everything's going very well here at Yotta.
Yeah. Again, you can't miss it. It's right there, right when you walk in. Big Relco sign.
Yes.
So congratulations on the rebrand and all of the fine work that the team at Relco is doing. And thank you so much for stopping by and spending a few minutes here with us.
Yeah, thank you.
And to our viewers, thank you again for tuning into JSA TV. Stick around. Plenty more to come here from the expo floor at Yotta. In the meantime, stay curious and stay connected, everyone.
The chapter looks at the core functions of the industry, but I take the position that incremental improvements won't get us much further, and being dogmatic about sustainability and sustainability optics is also a shortcut to failure. So it takes a look at some of the places we've gone wrong, some of the places we could go wrong, but directionally where we could go right. And I suppose it comes down to math versus sustainability trends, but in a relatable way, hopefully.
So the chapter is titled Making Your ICT Value Chain Net Zero. And in it, I present a framework for addressing emissions from purchased goods and services. This can be somewhat of a daunting task as it involves what they call Scope 3 emissions from your value chain. And these are typically the largest source of emissions for a company in the ICT industry. And it has everything that makes addressing climate change tricky. It's hard to measure, it's beyond your direct control, it requires a longer time horizon, and involves changing the behavior of others. To add to the complexity of this task, many companies have thousands upon thousands of suppliers. So my chapter gives some insight into where to start and how to build a program. And it's based on the work that I've been doing over the past few years, specifically engaging procurement and creating a framework for sustainable procurement, which I call the Net Zero Framework for Purchased Goods and Services and Capital Goods.
The chapter is part of the last section of the book, which is the business case of sustainability. And in my chapter, I basically go beyond what I would call the hard business case to describe a bit what is a soft business case. The hard business case is what everybody knows about, is like how we can achieve economies through energy efficiency, for instance, through new renewable energy that are cheaper than conventional energy. Meaning by doing some stuff that is good for the environment, you're also doing something that is good for the bottom line, which obviously aligns super well. The soft business case is more about what's coming is like this data center getting bigger and bigger and have challenges to get accepted. And so sustainability is going to be the key to get data center to be accepted by local communities. So the next generation data center are going to be sustainable or will not be. So this is what I call the soft business case, because we're talking about the very existence of the next generation of data center through sustainability.
So our chapter, it begins closely examining our tactics towards efficient power utilization, because frankly, no data center can talk about their sustainability initiatives without tackling this problem and their consumption, how they're limiting their consumption. So we focus on introducing the chapter of how we originated in building smaller, highly efficient data centers using the equipment and technologies that we knew would operate the best. And so all of those goals were to reduce energy usage for operations, for cooling, for lighting, and all of those, and taking deliberate actions across our system designs, our operational procedures, It looks into how we've applied different tools and systems to actively monitor those. A little bit into our designs about how we feature primarily waterless cooling, or in one case, closed loop cooling, where we try to recognize there are trade-offs between air and water-cooled facilities. So you'd have to dive into that section to that. I look a little bit into balancing production, not just the consumption side of things, in looking to how we've worked with our utility partners, what they're providing to us in terms of renewable energy mix. And last, I actually cover some of the sustainability assessments that we've used to evaluate and substantiate our commitments, because, you know, we wanted to make sure we believe we're doing the right thing. We wanted this vetted by an industry third party. So this was performed by Informatech. It's their DEEP, or Data Center Energy Efficiency Program. And it scrutinized our energy, water usage, mechanical, electrical, airflow, operational processes. It was actually intense. And they looked at other things we did, like building a recycling program for construction materials where nothing had existed at the time. So they balanced all of that, and they came out with a gold level certification for their DEEP review. And that's the highest tier that you can achieve. So that's our chapter, is diving in and looking through the course that journey has taken. Key that it's a journey. It's one we'll continue to navigate our course on very, very carefully, and in every way strive to do the right thing for our customers, our stakeholders, our communities, and the world.
Welcome back to JSA TV, everyone. We are coming to you live from the expo floor of Yotta 2024, and I've grabbed Andrew Lindsay from Flexnode off of the floor to come and chat with us. Thank you so much for stopping by today.
Thank you for having me, Keely.
And we were just chatting about how wonderful the show has been so far. Glad to hear that you're having a very positive experience so far.
It's been really engaging. I'm really impressed with what they've done here. You know, the cross-market engagement is something to be seen.
Absolutely. I'm sure you've heard a little bit about AI here so far at the show. So let's talk about that for just a moment with regards to Flexnode. So how has Flexnode been adapting to meet AI deployments and the needs of your customers?
Yeah, no, definitely. So Flexnode as really a modular building platform designed for AI deployments. You know, what we were focused on was not just developing this new platform, but actually creating a new way to configure, expand, and scale our platform over time. So it was a big part of us actually looking at a ground up way of designing, building, manufacturing, and deploying our data centers.
Yeah. So we should back up here for just a moment. You just gave us a hint at this, but for those who might not be familiar with Flexnode, can you give us just a little background on what you do and how you help your customers?
Of course, for sure. So we're a data center designer, builder, owner, operator. So we have a fully integrated building platform that really allows for us to support future-ready workloads. We centered our efforts early on liquid-cooled data centers and really looking at a way that we could rapidly configure them to support our customers. And so now what we're doing is deploying utility scale infrastructure, which is pretty exciting. We're looking to do some nationwide work, which would be pretty fun.
Okay. A lot more to come on that.
Absolutely.
Sounds like. Okay. Let's talk about sustainability. We're also hearing a lot about sustainability as we're here at Yotta. So how have you guys been incorporating sustainability into the needs of what you're building and offering out to your clients?
It's a really great question. And I think with everybody being much more cognizant of what data centers are and the impacts that data centers can have, be it energy, water consumption, and so forth, you know, what we've done is focus on where we build, and how we operate. With where we build, we really look to go to where there's stranded infrastructure, where it's less of a burden on the utilities and the power companies to expand their presence to support our work. Beyond that, though, how we build, we look to do a lot of advanced design and build processes that go right into our manufacturing, a direct to manufacturing, if you will, which really then allows us to reduce the material waste and rework that we typically see in the data center build process. It's just inevitable because the construction industry is so far behind. And then finally, how we operate, beyond the fact that we leverage liquid cooling in every capability that we can, we also leverage digital twins to monitor and manage the performance of our data centers, which allows us to fluctuate based off the demands of the customer rather than just having a flat line and overusing or underusing.
It's incredible work that's going on.
It's
been exciting to watch your journey, and we definitely look forward to continuing to watch it. How is the edge coming into play, and how are you scaling for the AI needs at the edge and the IoT needs that are out there kind of on?
It's a really great question. So for us, as part of going to where there's existing power, both indoors and outdoors, we want to be a ubiquitous level infrastructure, and in so doing, working directly with the power companies, both on the distribution side and the generation side, to identify where there's untapped power and be able to rapidly deploy for customers that I think are getting into a market they never expected to get into, with these edge users actually deploying data centers of their own, be it for the level of control, governance, even the speed at which these applications require to perform.
Yeah, the power piece is absolutely huge. We're just hearing more and more of that in markets all across the country.
It's incredible. There's certainly a scarcity right now, and the supply chain backlog for just the sheer amount of work that's happening is incredible to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So we definitely need people like you out there helping to bring these solutions to the table at the edge and everywhere else.
I appreciate it.
So before we let you go, let's talk real quickly about sustainability again. As we've heard, we're talking a lot about that here at Yotta. Is there any big innovation or anything coming onto the market that you see as really being a big game changer?
Absolutely. I think there's two things that we're seeing in full view. The first thing is that because of this shift away from, and I wouldn't say this is immediate, but it will be gradual over this next, say, 5 years, shift away from training over to more inferential AI workloads, what we're also going to see is a push toward a more distributed infrastructure model where I think the go-to today is bigger is better. And I think there's a degree of growth that we're seeing where it won't really allow for us to just do bigger is better. There will also be the smaller distributed deployments. The second thing really is on the distributed generation part, right? I think very few people recognize that power generation started off as distributed and then it aggregated to support sort of how we operate with the grid today. And now we're going back to a distributed generation model. And that will really, I think, fall anywhere between, the wind and solar sustainable generation, also including a lot of work in hydrogen. And now we're seeing a lot of talk in nuclear, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to sit back and watch some of it unfold. But yeah, it's all going to start working together is what we're hearing as well.
Totally.
So, okay. Anything else that you're excited about before we let you get out of here?
I'm just really excited about the momentum and innovation going on in the industry. Now we have even task forces that are coming out from the White House to push data centers, especially AI-ready data centers, and the DOE really coming up with some innovative ways to tackle our next generation workloads.
A lot of eyeballs are definitely on the digital infrastructure industry, and it's been exciting, as you and I were just chatting about before we went live here, to be a part of it and just to watch it explode and grow up.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Andrew, for stopping by, and we look forward to having you back on JSA TV again soon.
Thanks a lot, Keely.
All right. Thanks to our viewers for tuning in. Stick around. Plenty more to come here from Yotta 2024. In the meantime, stay curious and stay connected, everyone.
Yeah, the chapter that I've written is about painting the right picture around business cases, particularly around sustainability business cases. And the most important part is that we see regularly when we're talking to customers about how business cases are presented to the C-suite and how a lot of them sometimes really don't get across and be approved. There's a very common case where no is one of the easiest answers that comes back from the senior management team. So the purpose of the chapter is to really break down what makes a really good business case and hopefully enables the reader to understand how they can structure it to make sure that they do get the approval. Key points and key takeaways from those things are about knowing the future of your business and really forward scanning the market to really help the C-suites understand how their environment is changing and why the business case can really help the organization move forward. Second more important point is around really knowing your numbers. It's very easy to assume that sustainability business case is all about carbon reduction, but ultimately it's about making sure that you really know the numbers because it really needs to make a financial benefit into the organization as well as an environmental benefit as well. And then one of the most important parts of delivering a sustainability business case is about making sure that you use the right language. Within the world of sustainability, we're very good at making sure that it all gets very complicated, and therefore only the ones that are involved in the markets really understand all the abbreviations, etc. And making sure that you want to really get your business case approved means that you really need to simplify the language and make sure it is absolutely crystal clear on what you're requesting and the timelines that you're looking for the paybacks to be presented to the business as well. So those are the three key takeaways from the chapter.
Yeah, sure. So in a world where data centers, data in particular, and digital infrastructure is becoming part and parcel of our daily lives, it's critical that we start to look at how we harness the power of technology and greener data to combat the environmental topics that we have today. So the focus of the chapter is really around how we look into the new technologies coming into this space, how we accelerate the application of AI platforms to make sure that we reduce energy usage, emissions and waste through using new technologies like liquid cooling. Perhaps, Rob, if I hand over to you now, you could take us through the detail of the chapters and the different topics we touch on.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Yeah, so our chapter focuses on some key areas, and they include the adoption of renewable energy and energy storage and its role there. We talk about smart grids and microgrids of the data center. And then as we talked about the digitization of energy and then the role that data will play in improving our sustainability. And that data needs to be reflected in metrics and frameworks. And this is something that we've at Schneider have talked about for a number of years, of creating a standard framework to be able to measure and make continuous improvements. And the conversation would not be complete unless we talked about AI's impact in the data center, and then key technologies it's pulling along, like liquid cooling, and its effect on sustainability.
Yeah, so our chapter is about how data centers can actually be used to solve potentially UN SDG 6, people not having access to water, and UN SDG 7, people not having access to electricity, by thinking outside of the box and placing them, as I mentioned in the introduction, in emerging market rural areas, these micro data centers that are powered by solar. So really the chapter just kind of goes into how we sort of came to the idea, then also some of the trials and tribulations of being an early stage startup relying on a brand new technology like Starlink, and what are some of the early outcomes of our initial prototypes and projects. And finally, the most important is how we see this scaling up and what this will look like in the future.
Sure, the EcoSense chapter is on accelerating data center sustainability journeys. And we spent many years developing innovative energy efficiency solutions for data centers. So it's exciting for me, and I have to say long overdue, to see data center sustainability and the whole greener data center movement start to get some real momentum. Key takeaways from the chapter. It really is around data center workload is only going one way, and that was long before obviously the much heralded AI deployments and the huge growth coming down the pipe from AI. But it's a challenge, so balancing this unprecedented, almost once in a lifetime workload growth against non-negotiable energy efficiency programs is just a massive challenge for the whole industry. So we look at ways how you can balance this huge growth while still delivering on energy efficiency programs. And it's just vital that you have the right tools, the right processes to make informed decisions based on very real-time data sets that deliver ultimately tangible deliverables to make energy efficiency savings.
Excellent. All right. Let's just talk to you. Yeah. Well, he needs to.
The main point of the chapter is that sustainability is not simple. It is a complicated problem, and it requires comprehensive solutions. And we need to make sure that while we're finding solutions and implementing them, we do it without exacerbating other problems or creating new ones.
Welcome back to JSA TV Live, everyone, where we are coming to you live from the showroom floor of Yotta 2024 on day one of the show here. And we're having a great time so far. We're bringing you lots of great updates from digital infrastructure leaders across the industry. And joining me right now from T5, we've got David Mettler and John Shingler. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Well, we love working with T5, and we love having you guys stop by JSA TV whenever you can make it. But just for those of us, or not those of us, but those people out there who might not be familiar with T5, can you just give us a little background on what you do and how you help your customers?
Yeah, sure thing, Keely. T5 develops, we construct, and we operate data centers for the most sophisticated technology companies in the world. And we've been doing it for almost 2 decades now. I think what's interesting about our business model is that we do those services on our own properties that we own and we develop. And we also do construction and operations at our customers' own data centers. And so we think that we, with our experience and that kind of capability in the model, we see a lot of exciting opportunity ahead of us right now.
Absolutely. Speaking of exciting opportunity, we were just talking about this before we went live here, and you're seeing a lot of growth, and there are some factors that are not just driving growth on one side of the business, but in kind of in tandem. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. The ability to integrate construction and operations is really important. If you build something without an understanding of how it's going to be operated, it's problematic. Or if you operate in an environment where you don't understand what's required to build in that environment, it's problematic. And John's teams, every day they're managing data centers really around the world at this point, and they understand that value very well. John, I don't know if you want to comment about that.
Yeah, I see that there's always difficulties between construction operations that hand off. Where we have, just from coming from the background of building and then operating our own, we can take years of lessons learned into every scenario. We can also support. There's a lot of times where we would be on projects with our own construction team, supporting a customer where they bring it in, and we'll have T5 Construction Services do the construction, we'll do the operation. We're able to have a smooth handoff between the two, just because communications, working together for so long, understanding what's expected, understanding from our customers what they are thinking as owners, bringing it the same way.
Yeah, that's it. The term life cycle solutions is it's used a lot, but that's, I guess, at the end of the day, we have that life cycle understanding because we do it all for ourselves, and then we can extend that out to our customers, and they get the benefit of that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important to be able to offer that benefit, as you say. So what are some of the other factors, John, that have been making people choose to work with T5?
I think the biggest factor is the owner mindset we have. Our operations team, our construction team developed from our T5 sites, and we understand how to drive efficiency, how to drive value. We think about that every single day at our own sites, and we bring those same aspects to our customers. It's when we onboard people, it's one of the number one things we talk about is driving and getting them into our culture and our mindset.
And when you talk about just kind of meeting those needs and anticipating them and meeting them where they are, I mean, the needs are changing. Like we're at a conference where we're talking about advancements in AI and sustainability. So how is the team on your end adapting to make sure that you're just staying in front of what they need on their end?
Technology, and my thought is technology will always change.
Yeah.
You're going to see it change in every field, everywhere it's going to change. But the one thing that drives the industry and what keeps us up to date is the people. And so I think developing your team, developing the people, training them, making sure they are up to speed in what's happening, that's going to keep us relevant. It's the people who are going to keep us relevant forever. It's making sure that you have the right people doing the right jobs and supporting your customers in the right way. That takes place above all the technology changes. It's how you drive and develop the people and the culture.
And John does a really good job at that. I mean, as a leader of the biggest services arm within the business, he sets the standard very high, but he also is really engaged with his teams, and it helps to solidify this culture that we're very proud of. We think of it as kind of this magnetic culture because it attracts people to T5, and it's because of the leadership that John does. And it's exciting to see.
It's exciting to watch from our end as well, and just to keep up with what you guys have going on. And we always enjoy having you here on JSA TV so we can keep tabs on what you're doing. Is there anything else that you're excited about coming up?
Well, we did a groundbreaking of our site in Chicago last week. So we're building out that site, which we're very excited about. And we have a couple of significant customer wins on the construction side, which are really driving the growth of that business line. And we're hopeful that we'll be able to make some announcements about those soon. But they're leading to that construction customer is also asking us to operate for them. So it's kind of it's at a scale that's very large too. So it's kind of like we're seeing the the proof points at the kind of the highest end of the market of the the model. So that's great.
Like what you were saying earlier, with things are not just growing on one side, but growing consistently across the business, and that's definitely what we want to hear.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Cool.
Well, thank you both so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed visiting us at JSA TV and here at seeing visiting everyone else at Yotta. So thank you again for stopping by.
Thank you.
Thank you, Keely.
Thanks to our viewers for tuning in, and stick around. A lot more to come here from Yotta 2024. In the meantime, everyone, stay curious and stay connected.
Yeah, the chapter that I've written is about painting the right picture around business cases, particularly around sustainability business cases. And the most important part is that we see regularly when we're talking to customers about how business cases are presented to the C-suite, and how a lot of them sometimes really don't get across and be approved. There's a very common case where no is one of the easiest answers that comes back from the senior management team. So the purpose of the chapter is to really break down what makes a really good business case, and hopefully enables the reader to understand how they can structure it to make sure that they do get the approval. Key points and key takeaways from those things are about knowing the future of your business and really forward scanning the market to really help the C-suites understand how their environment is changing and why the business case can really help the organization move forward. Second more important point is around really knowing your numbers. It's very easy to assume that sustainability business case is all about carbon reduction, but ultimately it's about making sure that you really know the numbers, because it really needs to make a financial benefit into the organization as well as an environmental benefit as well. And then one of the most important parts of delivering a sustainability business case is about making sure that you use the right language. Within the world of sustainability, we're very good at making sure that it all gets very complicated, and therefore only the ones that are involved in the markets really understand all the abbreviations, etc. And making sure that you want to really get your business case approved means that you really need to simplify the language and make sure it is absolutely crystal clear on what you're requesting, and the timelines that you're looking for the paybacks to be presented to the business as well. So those are the three key takeaways from the chapter.
Yeah, sure. So in a world where data centers, data in particular, and digital infrastructure is becoming part and parcel of our daily lives, it's critical that we start to look at how we harness the power of technology and greener data to combat the environmental topics that we have today. So the focus of the chapter is really around how we look into the new technologies coming into this space, how we accelerate the application of AI platforms to make sure that we reduce energy usage, emissions and waste through using new technologies like liquid cooling. Perhaps, Rob, if I hand over to you now, you could take us through the detail of the chapters and the different topics we touch on.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Yeah, so our chapter focuses on some key areas, and they include the adoption of renewable energy and energy storage and its role there. We talk about smart grids and microgrids of the data center. And then as we talked about the digitization of energy, and then the role that data will play in improving our sustainability. And that data needs to be reflected in metrics and frameworks. And this is something that we've at Schneider have talked about for a number of years, of creating a standard framework to be able to measure and make continuous improvements. And the conversation would not be complete unless we talked about AI's impact in the data center, and then key technologies it's pulling along, like liquid cooling, and its effect on sustainability.
Yeah, so our chapter is about how data centers can actually be used to solve potentially UN SDG 6, people not having access to water, and UN SDG 7, people not having access to electricity, by thinking outside of the box. and placing them, as I mentioned in the introduction, in emerging market rural areas, these micro data centers that are powered by solar. So really the chapter just kind of goes into how we sort of came to the idea, then also some of the trials and tribulations of being an early stage startup, relying on a brand new technology like Starlink, and what are some of the early outcomes of our initial prototypes and projects. And finally, the most important is how we see this scaling up and what this will look like in the future.
Sure, the EchoSense chapter is
Welcome back, everyone, to JSA TV, where we are covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations from leaders across the digital infrastructure industry. Joining us now, live from the show floor of Yotta 2024, we've got Jeff Barber with Bloom Energy. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Like I said, this is always the best part of any show. Look forward to the JSA interviews, insightful questions.
We look forward to having you every time as well.
Thank
Before
you.
we dive into it, you have had a lot going on, but I want to first just, for those who might not be familiar with Bloom and what you do,
Sure.
Can you just give us a quick background on how you help your customers?
Yeah, absolutely. So Bloom at its core is on-site microgrid power, so electrons for the data center or any other storage facility. We are at our core a hydrogen fuel cell. We extract that hydrogen from natural gas, or if you have what I call the unicorn flying over the rainbow, which is quantities of green hydrogen at your site, you can feed us that and we'll give you electrons. So Bloom steps in when you need to supplement or completely replace the utility. And right now we have just a couple of power issues in our industry. I don't know if anybody's heard. Power is kind of tough to get. And if you can get it, it's sometimes a decade out. So that doesn't work for data center. We need to have an on-site solution. And that's what Bloom does for many, many years now. We're well over a decade old.
One of the biggest challenges within the industry right
Absolutely.
now. That's absolutely right. So speaking of, you've set us up very nicely for the first question that I've got for you. We've recently seen announcements from Bloom related to companies like Intel, CoreWeave, Quanta, and these new products seem to be focused on GPU type workloads. And traditionally, we've heard that that doesn't work necessarily within those types of companies, but that's not quite the case.
No, absolutely not the case. No, that's a great question. Thank you. Bloom is absolutely perfect for what we call oscillating workloads, which tend to be machine learning AI focused workloads. GPUs go up and down many times, 50 times in just several seconds. But Bloom has deployed for any microgrid, and we have 1,000 systems out there plus. We deploy ultra capacitors and super capacitors. So no, we absolutely can respond instantaneously to workload shifts, and it gives the fuel cell time to adjust itself. So we're the perfect fit for these types of workloads, as the market is proving. It's just taken a little bit of marketing and a little bit of conversations like this to get the word out that we deploy storage devices like ultra capacitors and super capacitors, so very fast discharge. We've done that for many years. So this is not new to Bloom. So there's much more to come on this front as well, which is great.
So why now? Why do you think you're seeing the level of success that you're seeing now?
It's a confluence of multiple factors, right? Utility is not there. Primarily transmission is not there. You have an exponential spike in digital infrastructure buildouts in this wave of machine learning, AI, GPU workloads, but also just still the wave of digitization. Still, I mean, the cloud is still very much growing. We're still digitizing. We're still creating, terabytes per day per person on our phones with videos and pictures and all of that. So everything's coming together right now, and utility's not there necessarily, not in many cases anyway. So yeah, the market has to look to on-site power generation solutions.
Well, and we absolutely need the power. So we definitely need companies like yours bringing these solutions to the table.
It's an important part of the process.
Yeah, it's not going to happen without it. So another common misconception about on-site generation is the physical space that it consumes. Can you talk about that a little?
Yeah, absolutely. I joined Bloom almost 2 years ago now, which is crazy. I would say the number one objection was not pricing, was not performance, certainly not reliability. Number one objection was the amount of space that it took. And there was some legitimacy to that. We were quoting footprints such as 2,000 square feet per megawatt. Wow. So we've been working on that for the past couple of years and have solved that. So we've centralized common processes like fuel filters and inverters, which gives us more power per skid, and now we're stacking them from the factory. So with a simple equipment platform, you can go 4 units high, and that's approximately 25 megawatts and 8,000 square feet. Now that's more than competitive with combustion devices like aeroderivatives. That's an incredible advancement in our footprint. So that's a very big fix for the company. It's a great thing.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on the great work you're doing.
Thank you.
Keep it up. We're definitely looking forward to hearing more.
We're getting there.
But let's talk for another moment about sustainability. Of course, it's at the core of what you do and what you guys bring to the table for your customers. So you're also a Greener Data author.
I am.
But you were also...
we'll have a book signing later. I'm happy to get you a copy.
That's right.
Yes.
We'll do it. But you were also a recent speaker at the New York City Climate Week.
Yes.
So can you just talk to us generally about your dedication for sustainability and just what it means to you and to our industry?
Absolutely. First of all, that was an incredible experience. The format of the show and the questions that were asked were very hard hitting. Like, no fluffy questions, which was good. A lot of developers there, a lot of folks like Bloom there. As you said, sustainability is at the core of Bloom, right? So we again, our basis is we are a hydrogen fuel cell. Hydrogen is just difficult to distribute and manufacture at this point, so we derive that from natural gas, but we have zero combustion, right? So there's no particulates, no NOx or SOx. We are able to use that natural gas at about a 60% efficiency rate. So that means 60% of those molecules are converting to electrons. That all equates to a much, much greener story than certainly than combustion. And most utilities, at least in the US, are still burning. So yeah, zero combustion with Bloom. So it's a very good story.
Yeah. It's going to take these new solutions and new ideas to get us where we need to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, Jeff, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you're excited about here at the show or just in general?
Incredible show. Congratulations, Yotta. This is the inaugural show, I believe, right? But the level of attendee and the level of meetings that we're having is absolutely fantastic. The venue's a little large. It's about a 2 mile walk from my room, but that's all right.
We've all clocked 10 miles for the day already.
We'll get there.
Good deal. Well, thank you, Jeff, so much for stopping by. We look forward to having you back on JSA TV again very, very soon.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. And to our viewers, thank you again for tuning in. Don't go anywhere. Plenty more to come here from day one of Yotta 2024. In the meantime, stay curious and stay connected, everyone.
Welcome back to JSA TV, where we're covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations from leaders in the digital infrastructure industry. I'm Buffy Harakitis of JSA, and joining me today is Thomas McAndrew. He is the founder and CEO of Enchanted Rock. Thomas, welcome to JSA TV.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Buffy.
Yeah, we're here live in Las Vegas for the Yotta conference, and this is day one. The floor is absolutely buzzing here in glamorous Las Vegas at the MGM, and such an honor to be speaking to you today about Enchanted Rock, your microgrids, and your resiliency as a service model for delivering power to customers and utilities. How does this differ from traditional models?
Sure. The traditional model for backup power was that a business that I need to be able to stay in business during and after some type of severe weather event that caused them to lose power. And so they would go install a diesel generator. In many cases, they really didn't want to be in the business of building, operating a diesel generator. They just wanted to keep the lights on. And so they got into that kind of the business of owning and operating a diesel generator because they had to. So at Enchanted Rock, we said, you don't have to do that. Let us handle all of that as far as actually the installation of a backup generator, the operations, and we'll keep the lights on for you. So that we basically turned it into a service model. What was an own operate model for grocery stores, hospitals, senior living facilities, data centers. And we said, no, well, we will actually own that backup generation, and we will do everything to make it as simple and as worry-free as we possibly can. And so that's what we've done. We actually bring we currently are installing natural gas microgrids, and those are a much more expensive system than a diesel generator, but they're much cleaner and they're more reliable. The way we bring the cost down to our customers is we sell back to the electric grid in times of grid stress. And so so our customers end up getting a much cleaner, more reliable system. It's worry-free, and they get it at about the same cost as what they would have spent on a diesel. So that's our business model.
Well, let's dive right into sustainability, and it's important to data centers.
Right.
Specifically here at this conference, we're hearing all about sustainability. And tell us a little bit more about why natural gas is a better choice, especially for data centers.
So there's a couple of aspects of natural gas that make it a better option. The sustainability is one of them. It's a much, much cleaner solution. Our generators typically have, say, less than 1% of the tailpipe emissions that you would see with a diesel generator. So just from a local community perspective, it's much more sustainable. You don't have the same type of emissions that you would have with a diesel. And that's incredibly important to us to be a good local citizen. Also, the sound emissions are much lower. And people don't think about that from the standpoint of sustainability. But if you're building a 20-plus year asset, you want to be as quiet as possible and be good, again, to be a good local citizen. And then from the standpoint of sustainability, kind of in the traditional carbon emissions perspective, a couple of things. One, for example, we have a data center that we're working on with Microsoft. We actually purchased renewable natural gas offsets. That's basically you're capturing methane that is being released, and that actually totally decarbonizes the actual resiliency system for Microsoft. So that's a much more sustainable solution. So any of the natural gas we use has to be offset by renewable natural gas. And so we're very, very excited about the use of renewable natural gas and capturing methane that would have been released. And methane is a very, very potent greenhouse gas. And so that's pretty neat for us. The other thing that we do is when we don't run that often in support of the grid, but when we do, there's typically a problem. For example, in Texas, maybe the wind isn't blowing the way folks thought. So we can help fill the gap where the renewables can't provide during that period of time. And so our type of microgrid batteries and other types of resources help buffer the intermittency of renewables. So and it enables kind of this continued ramp of wind and solar, but in a way that you don't have grid reliability issues.
Well, grid reliability issues are surely a big concern, especially in the data center industry. And all we're hearing, here today at this conference is all about the explosive growth within our industry, specifically when it comes to enabling AI and machine learning. So how can your solution accelerate access to power
Sure.
since it's such a challenge to unlock this growth?
Yeah, great question, Buffy. The power constraint is a significant constraint to data center growth. I think it's become the primary constraint, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit of a scary thing, right? We have a great opportunity with AI, but we need to fix the power problem. It's interesting because what we're seeing is in many of these markets, not just in the U.S. but around the world, where the issue isn't that we're just out of power. It's that there's a limited number of hours where the utility has a hard time delivering for whatever reason, and it may be 500 hours a year, 100 hours a year, 800 hours a year. And so, kind of our solution, what we're saying is look to solve kind of that problem that the utility has. And so, data centers work in partnership with the utilities to say, how do we solve those very few, let's call it 5% of the hours a year, where they're having a very hard time serving that load. And so our solution says the data center has to continue to operate, but we'll install a natural gas microgrid. And during times of grid stress, we can basically take that load of the data center off the grid and provide surplus back to the grid to help to solve problems that the utility's having. So instead of being considered a problem, the data center is now part of the solution. And so we think that's an incredibly powerful concept. And we're very involved with many utilities around the country and working through these types of programs where they can actually serve the data center load and potentially accelerate service. So they may have said, well, if we have to serve you at a very high level of reliability, it may take 7 years for us to provide that service. But if we can interrupt you 5% of the hours in a year, we can provide that service in 2 to 3 years. So that we think that's a very, very powerful concept. And oh, by the way, this actually helps integrate renewables too, because a lot of times the problems are being created by the intermittency of renewables. And so then we can help buffer the renewables, and we can continue the ramp in renewables, and the data centers will actually be part of the solution, and we can continue down the path of decarbonizing the electric grid and making it more reliable.
Which is critically important,
right,
in this fight against climate change
right.
here today in this world. So it seems like you guys are doing such amazing things to really unleash the power of the data center, and how in particular you guys are working directly with the utilities to make such a difference.
So yeah, we're very excited about continuing down that path of partnership with the local utilities and with the data centers to look for the very specific ways to unlock the capacity and do it in a way that everybody ends up winning.
Yeah, well, it's a win-win situation.
It is.
And we're here at Vegas,
yeah.
So what a win there.
Right.
And for those that want to learn more about Enchanted Rock and this unique solution that you're working on with the utilities to unlock the growth of the data center industry, tell viewers where they can go.
Just the easiest thing to do is just go to enchantedrock.com. You can look at our website, reach out to me directly. We have other folks here at the conference, and we're willing to talk to folks that are interested in being a part of this solution. So thank you very much.
Yes, it's my pleasure, Thomas. And thank you, viewers, for tuning in to another episode of JSA TV. Stay curious, stay connected, and happy networking. Welcome back to JSA TV, where we're covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations from leaders in the digital infrastructure industry. I'm Buffy Harakitis of JSA, and joining me today we have two very special guests, two of my favorite people in the industry. We have Miranda Gardner. She is the executive director of the iMasons Climate Accord, and Michael Donahue, and he is the chair of the Power Working Group. Thanks so much for joining today, friends.
Thanks, Buffy,
Absolutely.
for having us. Yeah.
It's great to be back.
Yeah, we're here in Las Vegas. No better place to be for the inaugural Yotta conference. And so far, the show floor is absolutely buzzing with so much energy. And one of the key topics of this conference, and probably mostly all conferences within digital infrastructure this year, is power and sustainability. So I have two of the best experts here to dive right into this topic. So let's start, Michael. As the world continues to shift towards cleaner energy, how can we assure that emissions reductions happen in a way that supports just a power transition, especially when it comes to the communities and the industries that will be most affected?
I think that's a fantastic question, talking about the communities at large. Right? We talk about the 4 Ps, the 4 Ps in the of the iMasons: the planet, power, perception, and
people.
And right in the communities is a big piece of that. And so, to answer the question, right, is that there's this enormous energy transition. I want to call it a transition. I know Mark Mills, who's speaking tomorrow, he calls it a expansion. And one of the things that we want to make sure is that expansion is done in a sustainable way that helps the people and the communities that we're expanding into, right? And so I'll give you an example. Company I just left, Talent Energy, right? We did a direct connect to nuclear power up in a more rural part of Pennsylvania. We've brought Amazon into that community, right? It's going to change that entire area. And I just absolutely love showing up and seeing the buzz in that community. And I think that we can do this throughout the rest of the United States. This industry can make enormous changes, like where we have run out of power in most of the traditional markets. And so what we're doing now is we're transitioning. So we are transitioning away from traditional markets to markets that we would not have considered. Right. And those communities are sometimes places that feel like they've been lost from that digital convergence that we've seen over the past few years. And it's amazing to go back in these amazing places with tremendous renewable power, wind and solar. And right, we build out all this wind and solar, but sometimes there's problems getting it to market. And so because there's not enough capacity to get it to market, we sit here and we say, well, what are we going to do? How do we continue down that sustainability journey? The solution is to bring the digital infrastructure to those places, help those communities, really help us meet those sustainability goals that we're looking for.
It's like stranded power, right?
That's exactly
we're
right.
Finding places with this stranded power, and we're actually putting them on the map. Especially when it comes to AI. So now they could be like an AI hub in certain locations that you would have never heard of before.
Yeah, the iMasons industry report that came out last year talked about these clean energy zones, right? Where we're going to be using all types of transitioning fuels, right? Nuclear, so maybe gas with carbon capture, tons of renewables around it, in further away from our traditional population centers. But just absolutely amazing to help think through that. And that's what iMasons Sustainability Accord is doing. Is we are, instead of at iMasons, we have people joining. At the Climate Accord, we have companies coming in trying to solve these problems together. And I think that these are just enormous things that we're trying to solve, and to do it as companies and as people. It's amazing to be part of.
It is. It's absolutely amazing. And Miranda, you're spearheading a lot of that, especially some of these ambitious goals that the iMasons Climate Accord has put forth, right? And some of those milestones along the way of this road to net zero. So why don't you chime in and tell us some of those ambitious goals and the milestones along that road?
Well, I would say it's a combination of ambitious goals. I mean, Michael outlined a few of them, especially when it comes to low carbon solutions, when you're looking at the power conversation. The other ones are really marrying up these titans of industry. And I do say that in the vein of Google, AWS, Meta, Microsoft. They all sit on the governing body. They were there at the inception of the Climate Accord. They all have their own company targets. And yet, those of you who were here at Yotta yesterday saw they were on a stage together talking about them in collaborative efforts. They are looking at things. Yes, there is a value when we're talking and looking at something like an environmental product declaration, the EPD, the third-party verified data. They are talking about solutions together when it comes to green concrete, when it comes to how we're calculating and reporting on these issues, when we're looking at actual regulatory criteria. How do we inform our regulators of what is going on and ensure that the market is being the voice there? And that is really the ultimate goal, I think, both on the iMason side and the Climate Accord side, is that the voice of the industry really needs to come from, as Michael put it really nicely, both the people who are involved in the experts and the organizations that are there. And we are now at a point where we're almost 300 companies deep in the Climate Accord. We are looking at very exciting new initiatives for next year, including sub-working groups that get into the real nitty-gritty of these issues. We are looking at things like making sure there's continuing education units so that those folks who are not in the industry can get engaged. I mean, our JSA curriculum learning that Courtney Pop, I believe, spoke with people about at Austin when we were in Data Cloud, that just won an award. And that's not from data center providers. That is from the education community as a whole. And that is a platform with 6 million students on that, K through 12 and onward. So, I mean, we are now really messaging to people that are both experienced and really new to what we're doing. And to me, that helps an ambitious goal. Now you've got this sort of enormous team behind you. You've got people that are excited about this. They're engaged. Mike, you look like you're ready to say something too.
No, I'm listening because it's fantastic. I heard somebody say yesterday that sustainability is a marathon. There's not a finish line. And I think that when we talk about goals, right, it's important to remember that everybody's at a different place along this journey. And so what we've been working on with the Power Working Group is putting together a maturity model. It's going to be coming out next year, and it is going to help walk different companies at different stages to get to these more ambitious goals. And and
they're evolving, right? So they're always changing, evolving. And like you said, there is no finish line. This is an ongoing commitment.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's a continuous improvement cycle. The goal with the maturity model, too, is there are various tiers. Hey, are you sort of starting at a place? Where are you on that journey? And we will continue to look at it to ensure that the voices of the Climate Accord, as well as the larger industry, are updating that or adjusting. Maybe it was a little too stringent and no one can meet it. That puts people in a wrong headspace as well to get to those places. Additionally, and again, we spoke about this yesterday on the panel, the governing body has reissued new objectives of the Climate Accord. The first one being that you have a strategy in place, whatever that strategy looks like, to kind of roadmap your way into a carbon reduction or a net zero carbon place. The second is to look at how you're purchasing. Who are the companies you are now involved with? Are they like-minded? Do you need help with training, et cetera? And then, of course, the sales, whether it's your customers or a product, that entire environment is coming out and being part of the solutions.
It's a whole ecosystem, right?
It is.
And when it comes to the titans of the industry that you mentioned yesterday, gathering on that stage and talking about it, it's almost like co-opetition, right? So we're all here.
Frenemies, I think, is what they call it. And yes, and Schneider was up there.
Right.
Digital Realty is on the governing body. Obviously, through the working groups, we've got like 35% of the companies. Our target next year is to have over 50% of the companies involved in some level of this, so that we hear from colos, we hear from providers, we hear from the AC community, architects, engineers, contractors, power providers. I mean, students. We have other like-minded partnerships with CEBA, the Clean Energy Buyers Alliance. Open Compute will be at next week. All of these are the voices that change this.
And there's no way we're going to make progress and get through this sprint to the marathon and continue running if we don't all come together. And that's the one thing that the Climate Accord is doing, bringing everyone
Thank you, Buffy.
together.
We think so. And we hope if you're watching and you haven't joined us, please join us, because hopefully you also see we have a lot of fun doing this. It is really hard work. There's a lot going on. We like doing it together. I mean, that's really kind of where it gets through. So when we have sticky conversations, all right, it's sticky, and then we keep going.
keep going, right? Because it's going to be a long, ongoing marathon. So there's obviously urgency with achieving sustainability goals, and we talked about some of those challenges that organizations are facing. But how does the iMasons Climate Accord support some of these barriers and help organizations break through? I know you talked a little bit about it, but why don't we dive into some of that a little bit more?
Sure, I'll start. So I think it's like, all right, let's define what the problem is, or what we're trying to achieve. Is Dean said it yesterday, is the industry is basically almost doubled last year. We added 41 gigawatts of power. So just to put it in perspective for the audience, Texas uses about 70 gigawatts. We added globally 41 gigawatts. That's like almost a whole Texas of digital infrastructure. We're gonna at least do 3 times that in the next 5 years. Just unbelievable amount of challenges. And I think that I kind of touched on it before, is that us as a community can think and work together much faster than us as individuals. And I think that is just right. We're potentially moving backwards on our carbon, right? Because of how fast we're moving. And what I get concerned about is that if we all work individually, we're not going to get there. And so it's very important that as a group, we collectively try to solve these goals.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of a controversial question. So how about some of the, statements that came out from the former Google CEO? Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I am.
Any comment on that, or
sure?
Let me frame it out. So his comments are basically saying that we should forget about sustainability in a way, because we're never going to get there. We should just continue, building AI data centers. But any thoughts on that? I mean, we are going to get there, right? And that's everything that we're doing. But I'm just curious to hear your thoughts, because it's a big, controversy within this show.
I think this might come up. So, all right,
thanks for picking me.
Yeah. So I think that let me start at the end of his statement. Will AI help solve climate change, or help solve sustainability? Yes, I think that it will. So that's a good place to end up, right? What I think is maybe missing a little bit is that there's this belief that we have where there's a shortage of power. It's like, well, there's a shortage of power for 5% of the year, right? The U.S. has an abundant amount of power. We have an abundant amount of renewable generation that is, as we were talking about before, trapped, right? I think that we can achieve a lot of these goals of what we need for AI just by rethinking the architecture of how we build digital infrastructure. Right. And that I guess I somewhat disagree in that I think sustainability actually can help push it forward. So give you an example, right? Is that renewables can help lower power prices, right? If we continue to bring load towards renewables, we get cheaper power, more abundant, and we can get more abundant power, and we need as much capacity as possible. So I really think that it can be part of the solution. It doesn't have to be, throw it away, right?
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. Obviously, we're Greener Data, and we have our movement as well as our partnership here with Climate Accord and you, Michael. So I agree with you. I just was curious to see your thoughts there. And having one more question. Do you think that it'll slow down? The demand for the power? Will it slow down, or will it just continue to grow? What are your predictions there? 5 years from now, what type of conversations will we be having when it comes to power?
It feels right. AI, and this is not my expertise, but it seems like AI will help build more and more jobs, right back to the people. It's not going to lessen jobs. It's actually going to create new jobs that we've never thought about before. It's going to create more apps that we've never thought about before. And so that power demand is going to continue to grow at the rate of change, the incremental amount year over year. I don't know, but I think that there will be a need for additional power as we continue to progress.
In addition to the emerging markets coming online. I mean, we are talking about this with, much more of a North American and a European lens.
Right.
Oftentimes, because these are the more mature markets, we are starting to see more and more expansion when we're talking about Brazil and how many data centers are coming on there. Africa Data Centers is one of our partners. Association is one of our partners. I mean, when we see that changing, then we know that demand is going to continue. Do I think things will shift a little bit? Likely. So it may not be the sources and or the application uses that we're seeing today. I think it'll balance out. But I guess back to that controversial comment, if we don't resolve some of the climate change things going on and the resiliency that we need in these facilities, we're witnessing it right now again in the southeast of the U.S. I mean, Florida is losing power. They're about to get hit with another big storm. That alone could derail any number of things going on. So to not take this into account and kick that can down the road, to me, not the answer. We've got to start doing this stuff now, even if it is baby steps or even if it is sort of things that maybe change out in the future. It's not an option for us to leave it off the table.
I agree with you 100%. It is not an option to leave it off the table. Viewers, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode here in Las Vegas for Yotta 2024. And stay curious, stay connected, and happy networking.
Thanks, Buffy.
Thanks, Buffy.
Pleasure.